This is Cubs Radio.
Cubs Radio.
A show about nothing. Two morons are talking. They both are really funny. They just go with the flow. It's the Herschy and Keegs show.
All right, it's Tuesday night, 9 o'clock. You know what that means? It's the Herschy and the Keegs show here at Cubs Radio. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're listening right now, please like and share and tell your friends and spread the word. We're happy to be here. I'm Mike Keegan with Mark Hirschman.
Hello.
And we got Sally. Sally's over here.
Hello, everyone.
Silly Sally's getting ready for a big show today.
Big show tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, I think.
We are going to have a lot of fun. This has been a lot of hard work, and we have former Met and current SNY analyst Anthony Recker on the show in about 10 minutes.
How exciting is that? Because as soon as they announce that there's going to be baseball season, I'm like, we got to start doing baseball shit now.
And then just like that, we have, people ask like, hey, we want to see someone from baseball on your podcast now that there's no lockout, and here it is.
Exactly. We deliver. If nothing else, we deliver.
We definitely have to give a little credit. As you know, we've talked about him a couple of times already, that we have an aspiring whack packer, but we're not going to use that name, whack packer. We're going to, we refer to him as Stupid Schmuck.
Stupid Schmucks.
Kleinman,
Hershey
right?
Highwayman.
Yeah, but Rich Kleinman is our head Stupid Schmuck, and we will give him credit. What credit is due. He's been hustling, working hard. He was able to track down Anthony Recker, and then I got in contact with him. So I will say that we'll go with Stupid Schmuck, but I will tell you that his behavior this week, do you remember in the Howard Stern movie, the beginning of the movie, there was him talking about his producer on NBC, what he called him?
Yeah.
What did he call him?
Was it Pig Vomit?
Pig Vomit.
Yeah.
And Pig Vomit was a vile human being.
He was a vile human being.
Yeah.
And just all morphed into Pig Virus, right?
Right. So, like 1 o'clock in the morning, I'll get an email from Kleiman. Did you do this yet? Did you call this person?
Do you have a boss now? Like on this show?
Well,
like,
he used to be my boss.
He's basically our
boss. He's
yeah.
a close friend of mine. He used to be my boss back in years ago, and I feel like he's taking the role of a Pig Vomit, but he's off in Florida this week. He's visiting his parents. He was actually at Boston Red Sox spring training, literally shaking down Red Sox players to give shout-outs to the Hershey and the Keegs show today.
Oh, my God.
You're going to feel bad for making fun of him because he just was very encouraging and said this is the best podcast.
Yeah.
It really is. No, we love Rich. Rich is
obviously,
awesome.
Rich
And
is a
then
close
Tony
friend of
Walker
mine.
said that he's only watching this to see Anthony Recker.
Right.
See,
well, everybody
Tony
else
Walker,
too.
who's a good friend of ours, hasn't listened to an episode yet, but we get Anthony Recker now, and now he'll finally listen. But yeah, I think Rich Kleiman's bothering every Boston Red Sox player right now. I think Chris Sale has a restraining order against us. I think
he's just shaking people down. He's excited. He's done some good work here. I told him to take a week off, go to Florida, relax with your family. Okay.
He hasn't seen his family for 2 minutes.
It's just amazing. The guy's got bags under his eyes.
He's hanging outside of a Marriott right now trying to get guests for our podcast.
So special thanks to our own Pig Vomit, Stupid Schmuck, Rich
WNBC.
That's it. Exactly. How was everybody's week? Did anyone have anything interesting happen since last week, since last Tuesday?
Not a thing.
I
didn't really have much going on. I had a show. I did at the Smithtown Performing Arts Center.
Okay, that's newsworthy.
Yeah, Irish comedy night for St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
The last time I did that show was exactly 2 years ago, 2 days before everything got shut down for the pandemic.
Okay.
So I did that show exactly 2 years ago, definitely sick with COVID. Mm-hmm. And there were 300 people in the audience, and I did a meet and greet afterwards.
Wow.
So I definitely killed some people from that last show.
So you're patient 000, basically.
I really was. I was sick with COVID. I had no idea. It was so new. I was like making fun of like the staff members because they were wearing masks and they had sanitizer in the bathroom. Like, come on, give it up. This thing is some kind of
no such thing as COVID.
Exactly. And then 2 days later, I needed to probably be on a respirator. But
wow.
But
now that was that the first out of 7 times you had COVID or 8? I don't remember because you never have not had COVID since I know you the past 2 years.
I've
you always have COVID.
When I had COVID, you were sitting next to me, and like it was just before I got COVID. So who knows who gave it to me?
That's right. Also, I was in this studio.
Yeah, you're sitting right next to me, and you're like, I think I have pneumonia.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like the next week, but I actually I think I got it from the spin doctors because everyone was sick at this one concert, and then
really?
like yeah.
That's
And
a
then I had it
that's a
right
better
after
way
that.
to get it than from Mike Keegan.
What
Mike
time
and his
was
pneumonia
it?
problem.
4:30, right?
Yep.
Doctors. Nobody.
Yeah,
got
because
that.
I was in here. This it was like the night after that the Irish show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I got Tim Saliani sick with COVID, and he ended up in the hospital. and
Oh,
almost
good. So
almost
you
died.
You share with your friends.
So this year I
love Tim.
returned to the Smithtown Performing Arts Center, and I looked at maybe the 20 empty seats in there, and I probably said, no, those 20 seats are probably because of me.
So, in order of the worst thing that's ever happened to Irish people, there is Mike Keegan at the Irish show in Babylon,
Yeah.
and the Irish potato famines, number
Yeah,
2.
exactly. That fell
Yeah.
to number 2.
Okay. So you don't think you got anyone sick with anything lupus this
I
weekend?
don't think I currently have COVID. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
No, you
There's
look
always
good.
something.
Your skin
Thank
coloring
you.
looks good.
Yeah.
I hope you don't have anything, but if you do, I hope that it's something that is not contagious.
But, you know, I
We
probably
are
have
close.
something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not going to tell. We're not going to talk for too long because we're going to punch up Mr. Recker in a few minutes. But I definitely want to let you guys know that I was mauled by a dog the other day.
Oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah, I was mauled by a dog.
my
And I know
God.
you're
What kind
sensitive
of
to
dog?
this. You're sensitive to this because you're a dog watcher, I believe. Is that right, Silly?
That's true.
Yeah, so I was mauled by a dog. It happened to be one of my own dogs.
Oh my goodness.
But it was still a mauling.
If it was baby.
It was baby.
Oh my God, it was baby.
So for those of you who don't
Baby's a
know,
pound.
baby is around 7 pounds. She's a shit palm, is what we call her.
That's also what we used to call you before.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm a little shit palm. Baby is part Shih Tzu, part Pomeranian. I rescued her when she was a pound big or small. She was very sick, and we literally babied her back to health. That's why we called her Baby. So Baby is a little bit of a off-kilter type of creature.
Yeah.
But she's very loyal to my wife and to myself. So she'll once in a while snip at one of the kids, but she does not mess around with Stacy or I. So the other day, the kids were like, Baby's not putting her front paw down. You better come look. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. She probably just jumped off the couch or whatever. So I walk over to Baby, and I go to pick her up. And she slides a little bit out of the way, so I move a little bit closer. And the next thing you know, she fucking sinks her teeth into my big toe.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I go literally running through the kitchen. I'm screaming,
You're
"Oh my
screaming.
God! Oh my God! Oh my God!" And then Stacy flies down the stairs. "Oh my God! What's wrong with Baby? What's wrong with Baby?" I'm like, "Nothing, but I'm hemorrhaging."
I'm like, you know what's wrong with baby? My toe.
So here's the
dog
situation.
baby. I thought you meant me baby.
I walk around my house with no shoes or socks because the only people that wear socks indoors are people in mental institutions, right?
Yeah.
So as I go from the side of the house through the kitchen, I'm literally tracking a trail of blood. Like I'm bleeding. I'm hemorrhaging.
Do people have to take their shoes off before they go into your house? Or you one of
I
those
mean,
people?
they don't have to, but if they don't, they'll get the stink eye the whole time that they're there. So,
Figured you were one of those people.
I won't make you take your shoes off, but I think you should know me well enough that you should have your shoes
know,
off.
yeah.
But listen, you can make light as much as you want that I was hemorrhaging, but listen, I know you probably couldn't figure it out by looking at me, but my big toes are meaty. They're meaty.
Yeah.
Like you picture a big drumstick on Thanksgiving, the end of it. That's my
Old
big toes.
drumstick toes Hirschman. They used to
Yeah,
call you.
so she must have got one of her bicuspids, dug into my toe, and it definitely, I thought it might have hit a vein. I was going to bleed out.
Could very well be that artery that runs through your big toe.
Artery, exactly. So luckily, I was able to stem off the flow, and we did eventually. I brought Baby to the
Is there a
vet.
tourniquet involved?
I wrapped it and I cleaned it. And I had some different. I don't know if you know what a septic stick is. My father used to keep these septic sticks. They're white, and literally you can get shot, and you can put a septic stick, and that shit will close it right up.
Yeah.
So I did that. Brought Baby to the vet the next day, and it turns out that it was just a ligament issue, and she's okay.
All right.
But it was a scare.
you know what's been embarrassing for the vet though when you put your meaty drumstick toe
Yeah.
on it. Can you check this out?
Yeah. It was. I'm just saying. I'll show you after. I don't want to do it, but I'll show you after.
Graphic
It was,
images.
No, I mean it was there. It was definitely a good centimeter dig that she got out of me. So, but I'm here. I made it, and
Thank God.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
God. It was touch and go for a while.
It was
Mark's
touch
like,
and
I don't know
go.
if I can make it. I'm like, Anthony Recker needs you.
Speaking of Anthony Recker, before we punch him up, Sally, do you want to punch up that testimonial that we got this week?
Certainly.
I'm going to just give you a little lead in, and this is not a gag. This was actually something that I got unsolicited from a very, very close friend of mine, who also know well. He is one of my favorite people in the world. To me, he's one of the best comics that I've ever known. His name is Danny Cohen. I'm sure many of the people that are watching who are comedy fans know of him. He's brilliantly funny. He's an Instagram personality, Facebook, Gotham Live, Comedy Cellar regular.
Yeah, he's a regular at the Cellar. Yeah.
So he's a wonderful human. He's a great friend, and I got this on my cell phone the other day, and I sent it to Sally because I wanted her to play it. Please go away and hit it, Sal.
Go away.
Don't go away. Go away with it,
Take it away, you meant.
It's very quiet. Yeah. He doesn't talk loudly at all. He whispers, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
If we have to, we could always come back to it.
Yeah, I'm not getting the audio on it.
So, trust me.
So
It was
your
great.
toe is fine though.
My other toe now is hurting from
boy.
this whole transaction. We're gonna get it. We're gonna pull it up. We'll get it later. Listen. Just because we talked about it doesn't mean we have to play it right now.
Yeah,
Silly
you know what?
Sally.
It's a cliffhanger. We'll
So
we'll play it for you later
I
on.
think this is probably the best time to go ahead and say, let's punch up Mr. Recker. If
all right.
you
So,
think
ladies
that's
and gentlemen, we're very happy to have a very guest that we're very excited to have from former New York Met catcher and current SNY analyst Anthony Recker.
there he is. Hello, Mr. Recker.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How are you?
He has to turn
I'm
his
doing
audio
well.
on.
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
We can hear him over there, Sally.
Can you hear him?
I can hear him.
We
yeah.
can hear him.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, good.
We can hear him.
Perfect.
Anthony, we want to show you. Now, we're going to preface by letting you know that both Mike and I'm Herschy, by the way. This is Keegs, Mark Hirschman, and Mike
Keegs.
Keegan.
He knows.
And
Everyone.
Silly Sally, our producer. We are both Yankee fans. We're not going to deny that, but we will tell you that we had a friend that dropped these by for us. We wanted to show you, okay? These are actually game-worn Anthony Recker jerseys.
And,
They're game-worn.
That's awesome, guys. That's
yeah,
awesome.
we are Yankee fans, but we're also Anthony Recker fans.
We
so-
are Anthony
Would
Recker
you guys
fans.
pay all of like $5 for those jerseys, or whoever's
it's
they are? They
interesting.
got them for like $5.
The gentleman who has a podcast on the show right before us, he had texted me last night. He goes, I have a couple of record jerseys. Do you guys want to wear them? And we said, listen, we might get...
I don't know if it'll fit me. I don't know.
We might get beaten up by our Yankee fan brothers and friends if we do. So we just said we're going to go ahead and show Anthony Recker that we have the jerseys. They are game worn though. He definitely. This is a guy who, when the Mets were not playing due to there was no fans, he actually had a cardboard cutout at Citi Field. You remember that whole thing?
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I do remember that. It wasn't that long ago, unfortunately.
Exactly. So this is his name is Joey Petroni. He's a great guy, and he wanted to us to say hello to you. So thank you again, Joey Petroni, for the jersey.
Yep.
And Anthony, we're very excited to have you. I think the first thing we wanted to hear from you is personally the fact that the lockout ended last week, and now you're back into your profession and your passion. Give us a little feedback about your reaction about baseball being back right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just exciting because obviously in my opinion, the country needs baseball, right? I mean, this is the national pastime, and it's not just that. It fills up so much time for so many people throughout the course of the spring, the summer, and it really is. I mean, from everything I remember growing up and being a fan into being an athlete who actually partakes professionally, it takes up so much of your time. You care so much about it. You're so passionate about it. Just having it back, it just means so much to all those people, all the fans, those who actually get to play, those who, make their livelihood by it, including myself and still, as a member of the media and everybody else around the game. It's just so important to me, to have sport in general. I grew up in a small town where sport was so important, and having baseball for a majority of the year to me was just part of my life, and without it, I would have been things would have been incomplete. So very good to have it back, and very excited to get to see these guys back out on the field playing again.
You mentioned the small town, so we're going to touch on Catasauqua in a little bit, okay? But we're gonna give it a couple of minutes. But we have a couple of questions about Catasauqua.
Probably a good idea.
But as you say,
you leave that name go for a while. Let that marinate.
How did I do with it, by the way? How did I do?
Not bad. I would say you went a little bit light on the first vowel. It's Catasauqua.
Catasauqua. Okay.
Get right into
said
there. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
heavy.
Okay. I'll work on it.
but yeah, as you said, the country needs baseball right now, and just me, I'm a diehard baseball fan. And as the weather started to get warmer, I'm like, it still doesn't feel like spring. I'm not watching spring training right now and seeing who's lights out pitching right now, who's
Right.
crushing home runs. I can't watch that, and it doesn't feel like spring yet, even though the weather's here. So now, once they announced it, I was super excited, and it feels like spring again.
We have a question. Would you mind asking Anthony what the mitt behind him is about?
There's a mitt above your head, Anthony Recker. What is that mitt all about?
It's just one of my mitts from when I played. That's Mizuno. This is what I went to late in my career. Went to Mizuno and loved it. Good glove, and you know what? It makes a little bit of a fun decoration.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely good talking point.
This is probably from, I don't know, 17 or 18. I don't even know what year it's from. I have a few of them downstairs, and I try to keep some of this stuff, around for my kids and everything. So, one day they're going to be curious. They're going to want to know about it. My oldest is 7. He's actually about to start. Tomorrow is his first practice. So very excited.
How exciting is that for you? Yeah.
Their league going. Oh, it's crazy. It's so awesome.
Exactly.
He's played T-ball before. This is going to be his first time, playing, with the big boys, with a pitcher and everything. So it's going to be really fun, really excited. My 5-year-old, he's going to be doing T-ball too. He starts a little bit later, but just so excited for all that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a 7-year-old girl, and I'm trying to get her into softball because I just want to play ball. I can't get her into it for the life of me.
I want to cover a couple of similarities that you have with my co-host, Mike Keegan. A couple of things. Anthony, you were born on August 29th, 1983. Mike was born on August 27th, 1983. So
2 days apart.
You guys are 2 days apart, and honestly, if you close your eyes, you guys are separated at birth.
Absolutely.
It's tough to tell the difference.
So that is something that I wanted to make sure we cover with you. You were a professional baseball catcher, obviously, major league catcher, and Mike played Engelberg in the Bad News Bears.
That wasn't me, Mark.
I thought you always tell me that.
That wasn't me. Why do we have to hurt Mark?
No, because you told me that all these years you were lying. Okay.
No, but I did play a high level. I was a catcher when I played ball, and we both played high level. Everyone knows I was selected for the 1995 Little League All-Star Game for the East Meadow Little League.
Oh wow, I never knew that.
There you go.
Yeah. Elite levels of both brutally handsome. We're the same guy.
So now that you did that, I was one of the first to break the religion barrier. I was one of the first Jewish players on the St. Mary Supersonics back in 1980 when I was 9 years old. So I was the first to break the religion barrier back almost 40 years ago.
And you struck fear in the eyes of pitchers because when you're less than 5 feet, you have no strike zone.
I was 2.5 feet tall. They thought they called me Eddie Goodell back then.
Did you have a tryout for Team Israel when they had the World Baseball Classic a couple years ago? Or?
That's right. That's exactly right.
I
just brought 2 dozen bagels. They said, "You're on. It's okay. You're on." So let's talk a little bit about Catasauqua, Mike. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Catasauqua. So you grew up you were born in Allentown, okay, right? Is that correct?
I was born in. I guess I was technically born in. Lived my whole life in Catasauqua.
Okay.
Born in Allentown. It's on the East Coast. Everything's so close.
Yeah,
it's all the same
exactly.
thing.
So
all the same thing.
Mike and I did a little research, and we found some other famous celebrities that hailed from Catasauqua. We wanted to test you to see if you have any familiarity at all with these people. Okay.
Oh no.
So if I threw you the name Buck Freeman, who would you think Buck Freeman is? Do you know who Buck Freeman is?
I have no idea who Buck Freeman is.
So
no,
Buck,
not even.
Buck Freeman played Major League Baseball for a team called the Boston Bean Eaters back in the 1900s.
Okay.
Would you have known that, Mike?
I've heard of
not-
the name
I
of
would
that
not
team. I have heard of that team before.
Yeah, I've heard of the team, never heard of Buck.
I got
Freeman.
that.
Here's a good one, which Mike and I both talked about. We know. Do you ever hear of Pat Kelly, former infielder of?
Is he well known in the
He was a
Caddis?
celebrity when I was a kid growing up. I mean, this guy was the name you heard, playing Little League baseball in Catasauqua. That's all anybody talked about. I had one of my coaches, and he was a long time coach in Little League. His name is Rudy Mayo. We named the field after him. I wrote a speech the day they did it. Everything. He came out to see me a couple times when I was in pro ball. Last time actually was in Philadelphia, but great guy. Anyway, he used to just tell me stories about Pat Kelly. He had a whole basement. He's a big Yankee fan. Of course, Pat had played for the Yankees at one point.
Yep.
And he had his cards all over the place. And I hadn't been down there since I was a kid, since I was in Little League. We'd go to his house sometimes after practice because it was right next door. He'd always bring like a big bucket of bubble gum. That was his thing. Double bubble gum.
awesome is that?
Yeah.
So awesome. But yeah, I mean, we talked about Pat Kelly nonstop. Love hearing stories about him. I think he's actually, last I heard, I don't know. Last I heard, I think he was in Australia doing some scouting over there.
Really?
And just kind of living it up. Yeah.
Well, we have a little surprise for you, Pat Kelly. Come on in. No, he's not here.
But we figured he was like a hometown hero because he was I'm
yes.
from East Meadow, Long Island. We had Frank Viola. He was from my town.
That's
and
right.
That's all my baseball coaches.
Sweet music, yeah.
So my coaches
I know
coached
Frank.
Viola. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's an analyst also, right?
Now this
He
one,
was AAA pitching coach
Yeah.
when I was in the organization.
Oh,
Awesome guy.
that's awesome. I met him a few times. We're from the same town. Very nice guy.
I'm hoping that one of you two can nail this. Do you guys know who Bert Kaczynski is? You ever hear of Bert Kaczynski? Bert Kaczynski, get a load of this. Former Philadelphia A, as well as Detroit Lion and Philadelphia Eagle. So this is a two-sport superstar, Bert Kaczynski from Catasauqua. Okay, so
Really?
this one I'm a little disappointed in you that you didn't know, but now stick that one in your pocket for next time. Okay.
Clearly, if he was playing for the Philadelphia A's, he was in Catasauqua a long
Yeah,
time.
he was the
before I was.
he was the Bo Jackson of
And according
1920s.
according to Wikipedia, Anthony Recker guest on the Hershey and Keegs show. It said today,
Exactly.
which
They
is
up-
pretty
they updated
amazing.
the
I
Wikipedia
wonder.
for-
I wonder who could have put that on there.
I wonder who.
Listen, we have nothing to do with Wikipedia whatsoever. I don't know.
Wait, funny story. I gotta say this real quick because it was only up for a little while, but somebody brought it to my attention. I had one big league ejection. I think you guys will appreciate this.
Yeah.
It was Angel Hernandez behind the plate.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And somebody brought to my attention that his Wikipedia page for, I don't know how long it was, for like a week, maybe a month. I don't know how long it was. I checked it one time.
Yeah.
Said that he was born, whenever he was born, and then died on that day because I got so mad.
Oh
Wow.
Oh, we gotta find
That's
that out.
amazing.
That's
you fit-
phenomenal.
I mean, I don't know if you can anymore because
You fit right in with it,
it. I don't know how you find it, but it is hilarious. I wish I had taken a picture of it or a screenshot because I was dying laughing. He's
That
the
is-
nicest guy in the world, but terrible strike zone.
He's just
Terrible strike
retired this year, right? Is he? Angel Hernandez?
I know that they've been
That was
asking him to
Joe West
retire
retired.
players.
Oh, okay. Joe West retired. Okay.
But Angel Hernandez has been an extremely controversial umpire
Yeah.
for years and years. With his zone is seemingly out of control. I mean, as a catcher, how did you feel his zone was compared to when you were a hitter versus a catcher? What did you find as from Angel Hernandez?
Oh, you would get. I mean, it was almost comedic at times because you're behind the plate and he'd call a pitch and. I'm just thinking, oh man, this is making me look good for my framing numbers right now. And I can remember one specific time Matt Kemp was hitting. We were at home, Dodgers were in town. I was with the Mets at the time, and Matt Kemp, he had that really like kind of inward stance, shoulder kind of really out over the plate.
Yep.
Anyway, I like to try to pump him in as much as I could, just to get him off stuff away.
Yeah.
And so we pumped one in, and sure enough, Angel called it. And Matt, I mean, he about lost it. He was just, and he didn't look at him. He was respectful in that, but he was using words I can't use, and he was telling him like, just try, Angel. That's all I want you to do is try. It was unbelievable. So as a catcher, you hear these and you see this interaction and you're just laughing. But then you get up to the plate and he does it to you, and it's not so funny anymore.
Not so
Then
fun.
you get pissed off.
Exactly.
So
it's
touching
a love-hate relationship.
on your career for a second. So we know you obviously you played with Oakland, Chicago Mets for a backup catcher. But if I was to say to you, Mike, 557 at bats in a season, 18 homers, 70 ribbies, you'd say that's a pretty damn good season for a good defensive catcher. Absolutely. And that's what your stats were over your career. So yes, it was your career, but let's just say put that into a season. That's a nice little portfolio there.
Absolutely.
You're selling me right now. You could have been my agent. Where were you? You could have sold me to some teams. I could have been a starter.
Yeah, right. Where was Mark Hirschman?
So I'm a Yankee fan, but being that I grew up not far from Flushing, I went to a lot of Met games as a kid, and I always root for the Mets when they're not playing against the Yankees. And you definitely had that pop where you would come up, and next thing you know, there's 7 rows back in left field. You definitely had that. You could crank it out. So I was disappointed when he left.
Definitely a clutch hitter, and like Mark also. I went to more Met games growing up than Yankee games because they were so much easier to get to. It's more fan friendly. My grandfather was a diehard Mets fan.
Yeah.
So I was a Met fan until I was about 10 years old. Like even on my Little League baseball card that they give you on the back, it says my favorite team's the Mets. My favorite player was Kevin McReynolds.
You didn't tell me that ever. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but until I was about 10, I was a Met fan.
We're going to talk after the show. Okay, I didn't know anything about that. Speaking of the Mets, and Mike and I haven't even talked about this week, but the whole Pete Alonso thing, horrifically scary. What kind of feedback have you been getting? I mean, I don't know your relationship with Pete or some of the guys in the team now, but you must have heard about that and been pretty alarmed, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously very scary, when you hear something like that happen. Unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me in that area down there near their spring training. There's, a few roads that are 4 or 6 lanes wide, 45-mile-an-hour speed limits, and then lights, and you never know what's going on down there. We all know there's areas of the country where the drivers are better than others and not so good in other areas. I would say we live in an area that's not a lot of great drivers out there. New Jersey, New York, it could be a little dicey sometimes. But yeah, I mean, anytime you hear something like that, if it's your teammate or even anybody else in the game, it's concerning. I'm just glad that I saw the video. I don't know if you guys saw the video.
Yeah.
His wife posted, on Instagram.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I know I saw the video. It was crazy. I mean, it was on the side, on its side. He did kick the window out apparently because that was out. You could see the damage. It was pretty crazy. Just really happy for him. For his wife, his family, and of course, and then you can move on there to the team, fans, everybody.
Yeah, thank God for him, especially.
Okay.
Yeah, especially the team this year. I mean, this year the Mets are one of the better teams in baseball on paper.
Yeah,
the starting pitching, and you need your clutch guys like that.
The first thing I thought of when I heard about it, because the Mets aren't always that lucky. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So the lockout's over. They have a billionaire owner. They have Max Scherzer, Jacob deGrom. They have Chris Bassett. All good stuff, and then their best young player is rolling over in an SUV in a car in Florida. I'm thinking that would be a typical Met, God forbid, situation. So thank God they dodged that bullet, and Pete looks like he's going to be fine, and the Mets are going to be off and running pretty soon.
Yeah.
And hopefully a little Subway Series again.
Yeah. This must be an exciting year for you to be an analyst too, because the good things look like they're going to be happening for the Mets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, New York, the Mets is in particular, just what this ownership group has done now with the front office that they've recently hired has been able to do this offseason. I don't think it gets more exciting than this. You're seeing them spend money. You're seeing them make trades that realistically, I don't want to say we're off the table, but when we first heard from this regime last year, when Sandy was, kind of in charge, it was more or less, we're going to spend, not necessarily, make a whole bunch of trades. They didn't give up a ton in this trade. Obviously, 2 young pitchers who, you never know, could be promising. JT Ginn certainly is, that as far as a prospect, but it does look like, getting a guy like Chris Bassett is huge, and it's fortunate, for this rotation because it lengthens it, and they were really missing that. They needed at least one more guy in there who could come in and give you innings. And realistically, what he does to me, he kind of almost replaces Stroman. He's got that I'm going to attack you. You can put the ball in play. I'm going to get some ground balls, maybe some fly balls. Mixes it up with a ton of pitches. He's got 6 different pitches if you consider the 3 fastballs.
Sure.
3 separate pitches. So a lot of stuff. And I think that when you look at this team from top to bottom, I think they could still use maybe a bullpen piece or 2, but outside of that, they are looking pretty darn good. They have some versatility, some defensive ability, and of course they can hit that lineup. I think will be a lot better. You got to expect improvements from guys like Francisco Lindor, James McCann, and then some of the other guys like Jeff McNeil.
McNeil
Smith,
needs to step up again. Yeah, he'll be back.
You expect them to play better for sure. So I think this team is definitely on the rise. And then you can talk about the Yankees too. Being in this town and getting to talk about the Yankees too is not a bad thing. They're always competitive. I think they certainly need to make a few more moves, but I like the fact that they have brought in a shortstop now finally.
Yeah, he's great, and I like the Donaldson. I like that.
Yeah,
and they just got to do some stuff with the pitching.
So my thing about the Yankees, I don't know how Mike feels about it, and Anthony, you can certainly chime in as well. But I've been a Yankee fan since 1977, since I was 6 years old. The fact that Cashman's been the GM of this team
How
since
old are you?
Yeah, I'm about that age. Cashman's been the GM of this team since 1990. I guess it was 7, right after Bob Watson retired. We're not going to really give him credit for the championships of 96, 98, 99, 2000. Let's just say 2009 was his championship. But you have 20 years since the Yankees, have won 1 World Series with this Cashman regime. And, from the minute they went ahead and they signed, they traded for Stanton, I thought they were blocking up that DH spot. They were getting a little bit older, as far as contracts wise. They were kind of clogging themselves up like that. So I'm not in love with the deal. I don't love moving Urshela. Donaldson's hurt a lot. I think we need to see if this is going to work, but I'm not in love with it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
No, I understand it. And your thoughts on Stanton and kind of what that contract has meant for the front office are valid. But I would say this. I mean, Cashman, he works within the framework of what he's given. So, when these front offices, and, maybe you guys know this, but when these front offices talk to their ownership, they basically get a budget. They're given, this is what you have. This is what you can go do. This is what we're allowing. If they want to try to go over it, they can obviously go to, the ownership and see if they can get more money, see what else they can do. But they're constrained. And right now, because of that trade and because of the way the Steinbrenner family is treating that luxury tax, which we know so much about now,
right?
We unfortunately they're treating it almost like a cap, like a hard cap, and it's tough because the Yankees bring in more money than any team in this game, and it's not even close. I mean, it is insanely lopsided. So you would expect them to be willing to go over it, even within the confines of normal business, and talking about a bottom line. You'd think they should be able to handle it.
Right.
For whatever reason, they treat it like a hard cap. And unfortunately, I think at times it's made Cashman look like the bad guy, like he hasn't done enough. Yeah. I do agree. The Stanton trade, when it happened, I was thinking, no.
Same.
It's you make a decision on a guy who's young at the time, seems athletic, stayed healthy, hit a ton of home runs. I get it. I still didn't love it. I thought he had too many holes as a hitter to give him, $300 million, even as for the Marlins. But then for the Yankees to take that on, I just didn't like it. But at the same time, look, he's producing on some level. They should be able to spend more. If he's given that opportunity, this team can get there. But right now they've got a shell and they just don't have enough pieces inside that shell to fill it and make it a World Series team. And I felt that for several years now, since I've been doing this analyst job. I've never felt like they had enough. And I think this year, at least as we speak right now, they're probably in their worst shape that they've been in the last,
totally agree.
2 or 3.
I couldn't agree more.
So,
they have a fantasy baseball team every year, and that's what disturbs me. Is that the 90s teams, the early 2000s, they had a winning formula, they had the chemistry, but you can't just build a team like you're putting a fantasy baseball team together. You have to have the right parts. Urshela was a winning part. We used to say that all the time.
Yeah.
To move him, it's a problem for me. So we'll see. Anything can happen.
A million strikeouts again. It's going to be the third place team again.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. That's why you're You're where you are. Where
Right.
we are.
That's right.
Well, hey, I am actually. I'm excited. I know Josh really well.
Yeah.
We came up together a little bit. He got traded to Oakland, and we came up together a little bit. We had our moments because he was a catcher, I was a catcher, and I came up in a way where I was kind of more along the lines of, okay, we're competing against each other, but we're also just competing for a job in the big leagues. It doesn't matter if it's with the A's or whoever it's with.
Yeah.
But he had a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder and wanted to, kind of get that leg up and be the guy in Oakland, if you will. But at the same time, he brings a different level of energy that sometimes a clubhouse can get stale. Even if you have guys who are like Urshela. I love Urshela. I've actually played with him too in Cleveland a little bit.
Sure.
And he's a fantastic guy.
Yeah,
Love him.
we love
he
him.
jokes around. He keeps it light. He's fun. But Josh has a different, attitude. And it's similar to Cole, but it's way more outspoken, right? He's louder. Cole seems to be more of that introvert, really focused, high energy, but knows how to use it. Josh is high energy, but you see it, and I think that could help. It could rub guys the wrong way, but at times you might need that.
You need it.
162.
But that's all fine and good. But if he's hurt on the bench, no one cares what his personality is, and that's what we're concerned about.
Big one. He's had a lot of problems.
So we'll see what happens. I definitely want to leave some time. I want you to talk about your podcast, and I know Mike had something that he wanted to bring up. But before that, I just wanted to give a shout out to Alvernia University. I know you're an alum of Alvernia, and one of my best friends, an East Meadow guy, Mike Champy, his son is the starting goaltender for the conference-winning Alvernia hockey team right now.
So cool. Actually, my friend, he wasn't my roommate. He was really good friends with he was my really good friend's roommate. Steve Rowe was the one who started that entire program.
Oh, wow.
At Alvernia University, that hockey program that happened while I was there. My freshman year was their first year. I practiced with the team because they were just an intramural team, and I just went out on the ice and
that's
hit
amazing.
people and had a great time. It was fun.
Well, so my buddy James Champy and the Alvernia University hockey team just won their conference, and they had a great season.
So cool.
And I did not know that you were an alum until my buddy Mike Champy had texted me saying, "Hey, I see you have Anthony Recker coming on. Please give a shout out to Alvernia, and he'll get a kick out of it." So way to go, Alvernia University. Before we let Anthony touch on his podcast, because that's important, I know you had something that you wanted to talk about as well that's equally important.
Well, first I saw that you grew up an A's fan and you were drafted by the A's. I mean, that's the dream, right? Is that the coolest thing? Is that true?
Yeah.
What was that feeling?
It was surreal. Crazy.
Yeah. Getting drafted by the team you grew up loving.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool because pre-draft, being from Alvernia University, Division III school, I had no idea I was going to get drafted. I had no idea if I would, where I would go, anything. I had talked to a handful of teams. And when I say handful, I literally mean about 5 maybe. Phillies, Blue Jays, Reds, maybe White Sox, I think. I don't even remember. It was so long ago. I don't even remember. But and these were, I had a couple tryout kind of things or audition, whatever you want to call them. You show up at a field, you hit a few balls. I did go to Citizens Bank Park. We did one there. I took a bus, up to Toronto, and we did one on like a JUCO field that was kind of close to their facility, but not. I don't know, it was weird. I did one for the Reds at a JUCO, I think in New Jersey. So just random, kind of tryout type things. And talk to some people, but I had never heard from the A's. Not one word. Didn't even know they knew who I was.
Yeah, right.
And sure enough, at the time I got drafted, I was actually at like a, I guess you call it a beer league baseball game. I mean, summer league, like men's league. Anybody could join. Didn't matter. You didn't have to be anybody. There were some college kids in it, but it was also some older guys up to like 40, 45 years old. I was, I didn't play any prospect leagues. I didn't do any of that stuff. No. So it was pretty crazy. I was playing in a game, and it was the first day of the draft. I was having my college graduation party the next day, thinking if I get drafted, it'll be the second day. This will be fun. There were only two days of the draft back then. Wow. But of course, I got drafted. I was like one of the last picks on the first day, which was so cool.
Yeah,
18th
unbelievable.
Round, and my dad was blowing up my cell phone.
That's awesome.
But it was in my catcher's bag. I finished the game, and then I found out it was nuts. It was so
Holy
cool.
cow.
And then for it to be the A's was just like over the top.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Phenomenal.
That's awesome.
And your next question, Michael.
Mark and I were going back.
So this is something that Mike and I, we started this endeavor a couple of months ago. We're both stand-up comics on Long Island, and this is something that we've talked about for years. And we're serious about it. We're working really hard. We're obviously extremely honored that you decided to come on, and we have some real nice high-profile guests coming up. So when Mike texted me yesterday about the subject he wanted to ask you, I'm like, oh my God, just make it at the end of the podcast in case the guy decides to hang up on us.
Where this is going, but
Yeah. Right. So we'll go ahead, because you seem like a super nice guy. I've always thought from watching you from afar, but now I feel comfortable enough to let this idiot go ahead and that's what he wants to ask. So hit it, Keegan.
During my research, I saw that there was a Facebook group dedicated to your butt, Anthony Recker's butt.
Yeah.
There's about 1,200.
I saw where this was going. I knew.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I didn't want.
So hack.
See, we were just thinking. I'm like, was he aware of it? I'm like, there's like 1,200 people in this group.
I'm
He's
like,
gotta
I'm
be
aware of the group about my butt, so of course he's aware about his.
Thought it was the coolest thing. I mean,
Unfortunately, I am. It's been brought to my attention by former teammates, by friends I meet, business people. You name it, it happens. It's been brought to my attention. I attempt my best never to notice it or give it attention, because it's not really what I want to be known for.
No, exactly. I mean,
none of us do, buddy. None of us do. Well,
I'll say this with a staunch record of masculinity. They ain't wrong.
They ain't wrong. Yeah. But it's interesting because I spent I spent only like 5 or 6 hours looking at some of the pictures, and I have to tell you though, like, whoever was taking these photos spent a lot of time on this because there's thousands of them. Yeah. There's a lot of these photos, so someone really needs a hobby. Yeah. But so we will not end off with that, pardon the pun. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, when it's starting, what platform it's going to be on, and what your dreams and vision for that are.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's funny. I was working on some stuff actually earlier today. Even right before we came on here, I was doing some stuff on the computer after I put the kids down. But it's interesting because, originally I had been thinking podcast. I had been going that route. And just today, as I was putting stuff together, and I started the video and everything and doing the audio, I kind of took a left turn where I decided, okay, what if, for the last several years, I've been working as an analyst, and my entire career, I was a catcher. I'm involved in the game planning and what goes into, kind of behind the scenes, behind the game. Mm-hmm. I think we've seen I don't know how much you guys follow football, but
a lot.
What Dan Orlovsky's doing at ESPN.
Love him.
His insight is great. Right?
Deep,
I mean, him
real
and Ryan
deep.
Clark both.
Yeah.
The way they can, take what's going on in the field, show it to you visually, which is hard to do with baseball because you're not allowed to use any MLB video unless you're licensed. Right. But anyway, the way he's able to kind of relay that to fans and kind of explain exactly what's going on, but in terms that we can comprehend, and even teach us some terminology, which is really cool. I almost took that direction today. It just happened organically. Like, I just started working on this, and I was going to talk about a bunch of trades, a bunch of transactions, all this stuff that was going on in baseball. And I decided that's not me. I'm not really just going to give you an overlay of what's going on and then my opinion. I'm more of a down in the numbers and the weeds and looking at video and breaking things down. That's what I've done my whole life.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's kind of starting to transition already. I don't even know what it's going to be. It is going to be called Catcher's Interference, as you can see there. Awesome. I got like the little logo or something. Yeah. We're working on it. We're working on it. But
there's a huge market for that. Yeah.
I hope so. It's going to be something that evolves as time goes, and I'm going to see where it goes. But hopefully, eventually, it's going to be. I'm going to have a YouTube channel. Start that way, see where it goes, and then have just putting stuff out on social media, whether it's Instagram. I have an Instagram. I have a Twitter. Sorry, I can't think right now.
Yeah.
And then there's TikTok. I haven't gotten on there yet, but I think I'm going to go that route, especially if we're going to be doing some video. So try to get it in front of as many eyes as possible, see where it goes, and hopefully it takes off into something else.
That's great.
That's awesome.
You should bring your podcast here to Govs Radio.
There you go.
There you go.
That's great.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we're happy to plug it on our social media pages and everything. So,
Anthony, we are extremely appreciative of this opportunity today. Mike and I have been kind of a little jittery all week, but we feel like this went comfortably well. We hope you enjoyed it. And you're welcome on any time. And again, all kidding aside, it meant a lot to us that you spent some time with us. And
anytime.
We wish you a lot of luck, and we'll be watching you on SNY.
yeah,
And
good luck behind the mic, and good luck to the Mets. And it's going to be a great season.
Absolutely.
We're going to have 162 games of. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Isn't that great?
Isn't
that great? It is. It's fun. I'm excited, and thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys having me on. This is fun. This was a really
Good.
time.
We're glad you liked it,
Look forward to doing it again.
we'll talk soon. Thanks, pal. Take care.
Thanks so much. We'll have a
Sounds
joint
good, guys.
birthday
Take care.
party this year.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Of course.
So long now.
All right, and that was fun. That was,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, that was Anthony Recker, former catcher for the
That
New
was
York
great.
Mets,
That was
current
great.
analyst for SNY. So check him out. Check out his podcast.
What
when
a
it
what a
comes out.
super down to earth guy. I mean,
Very
this is
nice
a guy who hit. Sometimes I'm on some baseball pages, and some of the people on the page with me will be like, that guy only has 4 home runs. I'm like, can you imagine, like being on the baseball diamond of a professional game, one day of your life that you're playing?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine what that
And he
what
was
that felt
known
like?
for coming through in clutch situations. And,
Yeah.
And now he's a great analyst. He's great on.
He's terrific.
He called the David Wright finale, the final
Right.
David Wright in.
No, he's terrific. He's easy on the eyes, and that was really exciting. So again, thanks to Kleiman for hooking that up, and we do have some more guests coming up that we think you guys will like. And one thing that I didn't even tell you about, but I had the other day, my neighbor, my friend Sue, had asked me a question, and it made me think. And I'm curious to know your opinion on it. But she had said to me, "Well, what's this podcast what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be comedy, or is it gonna be sports, or is it gonna be interviews?" And I stopped and I thought a little bit about it. And because the truth is, this podcast is really morphing as we go.
Yeah.
So, how we envisioned it from the start to where we are now, a few weeks in, to where we're going to be in a month, may be different.
When we first spoke about doing the podcast, we said that we were perfect together because we have a lot of similar interests: sports, gambling, entertainment. We're comedians, so it's going to be a little bit of everything. But I do like focusing on sports a little bit because you add a little humor to sports and make it
the way I answered her when I saw her and we were talking about it, I think the product that we want to bring to our listeners, and hopefully they will grow in numbers, we want people to have a connection with us. To me, you, to Sally, where they want to hear what we have to say 1 hour a week for to talk about whatever. So I don't think we want to be pigeonholed as a sports show or a comedy show or a guest show. I think we want to bring something relevant to that, so people want to hear it regardless of what we're talking about. Yeah. So were there some people listening tonight who wanted to hear 1 hour's worth of bleeding toe stories? Maybe.
Probably there were, but you know what? You got a bleeding toe story.
You got it.
And are there people that have never watched a second of baseball in their life? I'm sure they still enjoyed that.
Right.
He was great. He was personable. It was interesting conversation. So yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bring it all to you, ladies and gentlemen.
I think bring it all, but again, I think it's going to be what's that word? The organic? Is that what people use a lot? Like I think that too, actually. But I think this is going to things are going to change organically, and from week to week, maybe we'll have a baseball player on. We have a couple of radio personalities coming up, but we're going to have a TV personality from SNY, from Yes Network. I don't even know if I told you about that, but the bottom line is, and Mike has a couple of. There's one guy.
I have a couple of entertainment guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to be bringing in some comedians, actors, and blockbuster movies, and I'm a new
the blockbuster movies, like the place you go rent from.
Yeah, he was the he was the last employee of Blockbuster.
He gave the last card out. Okay, because that's going to be a good
But
story.
yeah, we have exciting, like next week. Like next week is going to be great, right, Mark?
Yeah. Next week, so we'll talk about next week, Sally. Let's talk about next week, Sally. So we got a text a couple of weeks ago from Silly Sally that tomorrow is like her third nephew's chorus concert or some shit. Silly, can you tell us why we can't have a show next week, Silly?
My son is playing orchestra or violin in his orchestra. So he's in high school. Last year he's in orchestra.
Exactly.
Last concert.
All right.
So we'll just broadcast live from there. And
He plays nerdy first violin.
nice.
So this is a team. We're a team.
No, but so we will not be here next week. We're gonna play a replay. We're gonna put a couple of our episodes up for a replay, so you guys can catch up.
So the Herschy and the Keegs team, Silly Sally's part of us, and besides that, we wouldn't be able to get into the studio or know what to do without her.
She always.
I have the keys.
Yeah, she opens the door for us.
She opens the doors. Someone always has to walk me in because it's dark in the back there, and I hate that. I always say to Sally, I'm like, are you bothered? She's like, I don't care. I walk in by myself.
You're the first person that's ever bothered me.
I'm always calling. I'm like, is anyone back there yet? Because I don't want to walk in there myself.
I have to meet Mark at his car.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually very funny that I don't like going into dark, isolated places myself. And where I work, there is about like 3 buildings down, we have a very dark storage area, okay? And most people, when they have to go in and get a folder or a file, they just go in themselves. But it's known at work that when Hirschman needs to go to the storage area, everyone's like, who's going with Mark? And it's usually like my colleague Dana. She's like, oh, God, I'll go with him.
Did something happen to you?
No, it's just, you know what it is? It's like you open the door and like there's like birds that fly. I don't like birds. I don't like wild birds. And there's like birds that will fly out. And
Yeah, there's a lot of wildlife out of Governors. There is. There's a lot of crows. I can see.
You know what? And also, it's not like you just turn the lights on. You turn the light on, but you have to wait for them to power up. So there's like a hot 20 seconds where I'm just scared for my life in the dark.
I get it.
So usually Dana has to come and protect me. My friend John, actually, he wanted me to go with him yesterday, and then he went with someone else. So that was uncomfortable, and as much as I love him, that hurt me. But yeah, so I don't like. So you're gonna don't leave without me tonight.
Big old pussy.
Don't leave without me. So next week is a dark day. We are returning on March 29th is the date.
Yes.
And our guest will be none other than Mr. Anthony DiDomenico.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Anthony DiDomenico, who's a longtime comic on Long Island.
Podcaster, well-known podcaster.
A very successful podcaster, a close friend of mine. He has, over the years, when he had not his current podcast, but when he had something called Organized Chaos, I was a frequent guest either in studio or over the phone.
You were like the stupid schmuck of Organized Chaos.
I was a stupid schmuck kind of thing, and he gave me opportunity there, and we had some fun. And there's a good dynamic between him and I where he shits on me and I take it and everyone laughs. So there'll be some of that happening that week. So we're excited about Anthony coming on the 29th. Yep. But until then, we'll be coming up with bleeding toe stories and
Carlos Gomez stories.
Carlos Gomez and stupid schmuck pig vomit climbing will be harassing.
Your job in the next 2 weeks is to have your son invite Carlos Gomez over for a play date.
Oh my goodness gracious, that's definitely not happening. But Kleiman's out there hunting for us. We're doing our thing. Yeah. Silly Sally's going to play the trumpet or some shit like that. I don't even know what that story was. Did you even listen to what she said? I don't even have a fucking clue.
I don't listen to what
Something
I say.
about a violin and a son or a nephew. I can give a shit. No, we love Silly Sally.
No, we love Silly Sally. Yeah. We love Gov's Radio.
Yes.
Knock 'em Dead Comedy on Gov's Radio. Check that out.
Love
Check out
it.
all the shows.
Love it.
Good Times, Bad Times with Joey Petroni, who was he's the guy that got us the
Thank
Anthony
you, Joey
Recker
Petroni,
jerseys.
again for the record jerseys. These are actually game-used jerseys that Joey pulled off of his back during the game.
Anthony Recker's butt was right here.
Oh my God, I love this. So Joey's gonna come back in a few minutes to pick us up because he does not trust us with the jerseys.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll just hang out outside for an hour and I'll come back. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I gonna do with an Anthony Recker jersey? You know?
Yeah, but
yeah,
and support Governor's Comedy Club. There's some great shows this weekend. Friday night, Terry McNeely here in the Giggle Room.
Oh, okay.
Terry McNeely.
Who else is with?
Friends.
Is that with the Will Sharon?
Yeah, with Will Sharon. It's their Irish comedy. Hugh Murray's hosting, I believe. And our good friends Terry McNeely and Will Sharon are going to be on it. That's a show not to miss.
I love that. And tell us, what do you have? Any gigs this weekend?
No gigs this weekend.
Okay.
I'm not doing anything, but I will come. I'll be here watching Terry McNeely in the Giggle Room.
Okay.
And come down, grab
Maybe you'll sneak a little spot. Is that possible?
I might weasel my way onto stage. You might see me tell a few jokes.
I love that. Okay. Awesome.
And support Governor's Comedy Clubs. Great shows going on all the time. And thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank
Please
you for
share
listening.
our content. Please.
We need you to
spread
share.
the
My
word.
Lord, we're not charging you for this. Please share the thing. That's all we ask of you.
Yeah.
God, we're begging.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
We had a blast.
Thank you, Anthony Recker. Thank you, Silly Sally. Keegan, I love you. This was a great show. And don't do that again. And we will see you in 2 weeks with Anthony DiDomenico. Signing off.
Hey now.